From getting the chance to develop his game further to his willingness to improve as a player, here's how Jordan Poole's exit from the Warriors has set him up for greatness. I've got to start with Poole getting to develop his game a lot more in Washington, because for a young player like him, there's not a lot more that you need. Poole's one of the most talented guards in the entire league, and I don't care what you say about his 2023 postseason performances. He's skilled enough to make it big in the NBA. If you're going to judge someone based on one playoff campaign, then you might as well give up on every single youngster ever. Do I need to remind you of what LeBron James did back in the 2011 finals against the Mavericks? Yes, this isn't a fair comparison. But JP shouldn't be written off on the basis of one playoff campaign. In Washington, he'll get the chance to develop in a system completely opposite to what he learned with the Warriors, and that's going to turn him into an even better player. There's no one way to success, and Poole will be well-versed in two different setups before even hitting his prime. That's going to set him up for all kinds of challenges that the NBA will throw at him. Cause at his young age, all of these obstacles are actually learning curves, and if you play your cards right, there's nothing that can stop you from flourishing. Poole's got the work ethic to make it big. Everyone knows that, and it won't be long before the Dub Nation turns on the franchise for letting JP leave. I still can't wrap my head around that decision. How do you let a young guard well-versed in the Golden State culture leave? In a trade involving Chris Paul? If this was a trade done in the early 2010s, I'd understand the appeal of letting Poole leave, because you get a superstar like CP3 in their prime. Paul will be 39 before the end of the 2023-24 season, and he's been regressing for a long time now. I'd also understand if any other franchise in the NBA made this trade, because most teams are capable of brain fart moments, but the Warriors' clever trades are one of the major reasons behind their success, and even the most optimistic Golden State fan can't convince me that this trade makes sense. The only reasonable explanation is that the Warriors are ditching their two-timeline plan in favor of a win-now approach. Let's assume that this is true, but are you actually telling me that Paul's a better player currently than JP? No freaking way. The Warriors have shot themselves in the foot with this one-sided trade because, think about it for a second, why would a team with championship aspirations like the Phoenix Suns let CP walk if he had something good enough to contribute? The question to ask here is, if Paul's not good enough for the Suns, how will he guide the Warriors to that fifth ring under Kerr? I'd give it half a season max before the Golden State admits they made a blunder. And it'll because of JP balling with the Warriors. There aren't a lot of sure shot things in the NBA, but Poole averaging consistently over 20 PPG while dishing out more assists than he did during his Golden State years is something you can bet your house on. This isn't betting advice, but it's not the worst bet out there, to be honest. The 2022-23 season was the first of Poole's career where he averaged over 20 points, and he played in every single game, coming off the bench in most, playing 32 minutes on average. That involved a career-best 4.5 assists as well. And I expect both of these numbers to spike during his time in Washington. He won't be playing 30 minutes anymore, and when he starts spending more time on the court, Poole will definitely score more as well, and once he gets in the groove, I expect him to average close to 25 PPG. He's got the shooting to do it, and despite scoring 20 PPG in the 2022-23 season, Poole was shooting at only 43%. Include the volume of shots he had to make from beyond the arc because of the way the Warriors play, and you'll put more respect on his name. If he sticks to those mid-rangers and mixes them up with shots from the range, Poole will end the season averaging over 25 too. The Wizards are terrible negotiators, and their front office rarely pulls off a decent trade, but this one's for the ages. Especially because Poole's the ideal replacement for Bradley Beal as well. Before I discuss how JP's going to own that guard department within moments of being a Wizard, a moment of silence for how Beal played the franchise. What was that horrendous contract? and how were the fans even trying to justify it? Beal's an elite scorer. He's going to cook in Phoenix, but for the Warriors to commit all that they did to the shooting guard made no sense whatsoever. Don't even get me started on that no-trade clause. 'Cause are you serious? Who even does that? The Wizards did, and they paid a steep price as Beal escaped to Phoenix on something of a discount. But they turned that into Jordan Poole. I expect Jordan to be an upgrade on Beal. No, I'm not saying he's better than Bradley. He has a higher ceiling, but he's not better than the former Wizard currently. Bradley wasn't a great fit for Washington, though. He was almost never available. But Poole's injury record's much better, and with a younger core around him, he's going to be a much better fit, too. In fact, Beal played as a point guard on a few occasions for the franchise, but he wasn't as good as a proper PG, 'cause he'll always be a shooting guard. Poole's case is entirely the opposite. He's excelled as a shooting guard, but JP likes playing PG more. And with the path open for him to do so in Washington, you can expect Poole to run riot. Wizards fans who think that Poole's only good enough as a shooter are in for a rude awakening. There's a reason he was a starting shooting guard for a championship-winning team, but also because Poole contributes a lot more than just making clutch shots. JP's an elite dribbler and driver of the ball. He's very creative and feels most comfortable with the ball in his hands. That quick first step's going to become a signature move in the DC for years to come, because it's accompanied by an impressive dribble package along with an ability to penetrate the lane and finish at the rim effectively. It wouldn't be outrageous to suggest that JP could become a point guard for Washington because he's great at running plays, orchestrating the offense, and spacing the floor. But the biggest ace up his sleeve is his big game experience. This is the one thing that youngsters like Poole tend to lack. I mean, they're looking to make a name for themselves in the NBA, and you don't get the chance to do so immediately unless you're very special. Poole's got that, and he's got a lot of it. He's already won a championship, so that won't be a problem, and he can focus on improving his individual game in Washington too. But JP's actually been a big game player since his senior year of high school. He brought that level to the NBA. Coming up with some clutch performances in the 2022 playoffs, I'm willing to pretend that the 2023 postseason didn't happen, especially if Poole can catch fire from beyond the arc while playing in Washington. But his intangibles separate him from other players his age, like the fact that he's willing to learn even after becoming an NBA champ. Take a look at Poole's progress since joining the big leagues. He's improving consistently and constantly every single season, adding something new to his game every year. He wasn't known for his scoring in college, but has become a first-class scorer already in the NBA. With a 20-point season under his belt, along with scoring, Poole's bag keeps getting deeper and deeper, and he's actually added creativity to the four, too. From averaging 2 assists per game in his first 2 seasons to doubling it in his last 2 campaigns, that's so special. And I expect him to average over 5 at least when he makes the switch to DC. Even his 3-point shooting has improved consistently, and last season can be written off as a blip. But I see him turning into a 36 to 37% 3-point shooter in his career, instead of the 34% shooter that he's from beyond the arc currently. Wizards fans should be very excited about the 2023-24 season because Poole's got a point to prove. So from his willingness to improve as a player to getting the chance to develop his game further, that was how Jordan Poole's exit from the Warriors has set him up for greatness.